Madam Speaker, ladies and gentlemen, over the past decade, the world has seen the harms and horrors of authoritarian and socialist states. Russia and their desire for far too long to annex Crimea, and even them going over the edge with the invasion of Ukraine a couple of years ago. China and their unyielding and unwavering desire to do things with Hong Kong and Taiwan and all of the shady shit they've been doing in the West Philippine Sea and in other parts of the world, like predatory debt and lending that systematically entrench and oppress developing nations. We think enough is enough, and we think that the CCP and all of these other volatile authoritarian externalities serve as an inspiration to be able to champion democracy. The precedents of the past sets a tone for the future, and inasmuch as democracies are imperfect and bad things do happen, we recognize cronyism and corruption. This in and of itself is an antithesis in order for these developing nations to not get absolutely wrecked by crazy and volatile powers like North Korea, Russia, China, and the like. A few features of our model which we think are relevant for this debate. Firstly, this is a predicts motion, and we think this is about examining what the trend looks like over the next 10 years. And I believe that people are starting to see the poor decisions being made within these particular democratic states. Like in the Philippines with Marcos Season 2 and BBM, India with Modi, and even in Thailand, where you have the prop and rise of authoritarian leaders like the king going absolutely ballistic, and therefore being a grassroots incentive for people to want to be able to overthrow that and champion democracy even more. We think that this ultimately has led to the following outcomes. Number one, the rise of opposition parties to want to be able to challenge the establishment, whether those be authoritarian, tokenistic, monarchical figures, or even shitty presidents and prime ministers who aren't doing their job. These particular people don't want to change the constitution and go all out into madness, but they want to be able to make democracy work. Because we understand that democracy is both procedural and substantive. People still have hope in the system, but are now seriously questioning who should be in power. Number two, the role of the youth coming into the next electoral cycle. Many developing nations, the Philippines included, over the next 10 years, are going to have another round of democratic power to be able to vote. This in and of itself, as what we've seen in social media, as the social listening we're doing on the ground, have people been like, oh, no, we should go into socialism, authoritarianism, no to democracy. No, the common knee-jerk reaction is that these people are wanting to exercise their right to vote, and the youth are even more politically charged than ever to be able to make that change and make that reform. Secondly, what is the nuance to the developing world? The developing world, as I mentioned in my pre-oration, are facing a lot of backlash given the disproportionate amount of shit they're facing, just like what we've seen with Iran and the crazy rising oil prices, and the fact that our side of the world is part of the market of emerging markets, meaning we have a lot of potential, but in order to realize that potential, we need other states to be able to not see us as sketchy. We need other states to be able to make us an investable market. That is to say, because of a lot of these developing nations, just like the Philippines, Thailand, Vietnam, Indonesia, many parts of Africa, and even Latin America, and portions of the Middle East, are starting to realize that in order for them to be seen as an investable market, to be able to unlock development for things like infrastructure, things like nuclear capacity, and things like AI and technology, they need to be able to bolster a sense of unity and not be seen as fucking sketch. Because all of these perceptions of shady and sketch literally happen on the comparative where you have socialism and authoritarianism. But if side opposition is like, yo bro, no, that's not our burden. We're saying that we just want to be less democratic. I'd like to hear what that is about. If someone POI'd, I can take you. 3, go for it, yeah.
Yes. In the best case, In the best case that the opposition bloc has enough power to pressure their respective governments, what is the tipping point as to why these elite captured states are willing to concede to their demands and be more democratic?
It doesn't matter because we think that the resistance of evil in itself is a good. So in our case, even if we fail, we're not saying that this debate is about, democracy, making everything perfect and great. No, I think that developing nations, broadly speaking, in the next 10 years might still kind of be shitty, but at least we're going to continue fighting against these things. So I think that regardless of that tipping point coming through or not, even if they fail, this just leads to a stronger coalition of power. Case in point, Lenny, in as much as she got wrecked and robbed the last electoral cycle, continues to make presence as mayor in Naga. Bam and Risa and the Liberal Party and all of these yellow individuals are still trying to be able to fight against Sara Duterte because people might know she'll win. People are like, fuck, the Philippines is kind of cooked if she does win. But the fact that people are still able to organize themselves in the name of democracy, which, as I mentioned, is both substantive and procedural, in itself is a championship that we are going to be even more democratic. Thirdly, and most importantly, what exactly do we mean by more democratic? A couple of things, right? Number one, we think that this means we are aware of the failures of shifting away from democracy towards something more Marxist or socialist or that is authoritarian. Number two, seeing the failures of not taking democracy too easily, subject to things like gerrymandering and vote buying. People are now starting, because of the advent of AI and fact-checking, blockchain technology, a lot of these mechanisms to literally make these things more transparent, even more proliferating. Number three, wanting to be a bastion of change. Case in point, the likes of younger millennials or people who aren't so old, like Vico and Vince Dizon, literally going into government. Guys, it's such a rare point in time where actually going into government is something seen as cool, something seen as sexy. And we think these young individuals who are the heart of the youth over the next 10 years are probably wanting to be even not just exercise their vote, but even take an active mantle inspired by the exemplars before them to make a chance in the name of democracy. We are very proud to open this debate from side proposition.